Welcome, everyone, to Cosmic Compass Conversations. And we are going to start with one of our favorite practices, which is breathing. We love breathing. Breathing is good. So we're going to start with that, and we're going to bring ourselves together in our group here. And then all the people who are listening later, if you would like to breathe with us, we love that. It's not something, time is not linear, believe it or not, right? So we can all feel it when we're joining in. Okay. So here we go. You don't have to close your eyes, but if you can and want to, you can join me in closing your eyes, bringing your awareness here and now, knowing where you are in the space where you are. And again, you can just bring your awareness inward. Gently just kind of drop your eyelids. You don't have to close them all the way. And just bringing that awareness into your body. You may want to enter through your heart or your solar plexus, your womb space, and just bring yourself all the way down your legs, knees, shins, calves, ankles, all the way to your feet. And if you can imagine the earth rising up to meet your feet, feeling that groundedness, that centeredness, that beautiful energy of earth holding us. And breathing in that grounded energy up through the soles of the feet, expanding your belly as you breathe. And exhaling through your mouth. Feeling the earth. Breathing in up through the soles of your feet, expanding your belly as you breathe, and exhaling. Breathing in up through the soles of your feet, expanding the belly, expanding it a little bit more, exhaling. Breathing in the earth's energy, rising up through the feet, expanding your belly, and exhaling when you're ready. And we'll do that one more time, just breathing in up through the soles of the feet, expanding the belly, and exhaling. And dropping your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, settling in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back in to this beautiful circle, square, a Zoom square. It's a circle, but it's a square. All right, I'm going to pull a couple cards and I'm going to say a few things about the new moon and Mercury retrograde. Just a couple things because there's lots I've been writing about, but I wanted to share a few things with you today. So the anchor card today is going to come from this deck here, Work Your Light Oracle Cards by Rebecca Campbell, artwork by Danielle Noel. And I've chosen this partly because of our guest today. She is someone I see working her light. So I am excited to bring this deck in as a reminder to all of us. Now, all of these cards are not necessarily light-hearted cards. So I'm just going to warn you ahead of time that we're collectively, this is for our collective read. So if something comes up that is, say, challenging, we take it in and we just bring it into the healing circle, right? So let's just see what wants to surface today in the collective on the eve of the new moon, Mercury retrograde, and a few other things. All right. Well, I should never worry, right? Okay. This is not going to surprise anyone. Birthing a new age. Birthing new creations. Dreaming a new world into being. Now that should not surprise anyone. right? That's what we're here to talk about anyway. And I love that our guest fits so beautifully into this category. So that's fantastic. And I'm so happy that you're all here and I see us in this circle together. And I know at least one of you here today, but actually several of you are very familiar with the stone circles, labyrinths, and spirals at Shasta, which is not far from me. And also the ones that are down in Marin County and actually all over the world. So pretty exciting. So I feel the ley lines beginning to hold us in a new way this morning and for this week, and just really being able to connect. And by the way, when I post on YouTube, the chat does not show up. So you're welcome to post comments in the chat or questions. I won't get to all the questions, but if you certainly want to share your own insights, feel free. I mean, this is a conversation. It's just not exactly this way all the time. All right, here we go. And for those of you listening later, if you have any, and I get emails all the time from you, so thank you. But if you have any other insights, questions, or thoughts, feel free to email me. Our first tarot card of the day from the Light Seers Tarot is, not surprisingly, the Three of Pentacles. And as always, I encourage you to just look and see what you see. What do you see there? What do you feel? What do you notice? What's happening? Sometimes if you put yourself in the card, you might ask yourself, who are you? Which of these beings are you? And what are you feeling? I mean, each card has its meaning for sure. And I really do believe that what we feel is what is most important in that moment. And then you can take in the meaning of the card. But personally, I think this is perfect for our group. And our next card, again, these are for the collective read. Wow, we are getting some really interesting, fun cards. All right, trying to get the camera to focus. Oh, I know you want to focus, camera. I know you do. This is so hard. There we go. All righty, the star. Just again, what do you feel? What do you sense? What do you notice? What's surfacing for you? And even thoughts, keeping your journal nearby. This can be when I pull cards, it's a process. It's something that unfolds over time. I just try to free my mind of what I think I know about the card. Plus, as I say every single week, Chris Ann's artwork speaks to me, and she did a great job with the cards. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. All right, our third card for today fits with our guest. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. There we go. Stay in focus. Six of Cups. Oh my gosh. You know what? It's so magical here, right? It's just so magical. The way the cards just show up. It's just really amazing to me. So again, what are you noticing? What do you feel? I'm feeling a lot of emotion. I don't know if anybody else is, but I'm feeling a lot of emotion. Quite a bit. This is a really happy card in the tarot. And it's also very poignant, as I'm sure you can tell just from the imagery. All right. So more on those later. But again, now you have a start for your week. Whew, that's a lot. Okay. All righty. Now, let's just talk about the new moon briefly. For those of you that were in the new moon retreat over the weekend, just a little bit of review. So we're in the Balsamic Phase today, which means this is the day of letting go. This is when we can just kind of look at what is surfacing that we might not want to bring in with us into a new phase. So, just be aware of what's happening today. Sagittarius new moons are really fun in a lot of ways. This particular new moon does have some aspects to it that give it an opportunity to open us to new possibilities and new opportunities, which is, I think, a really Sagittarian way of saying be open to things shifting, changing, and because of how our lives have unfolded, especially in the last few years, we often get a tightening when someone says something unexpected is coming. So let's kind of reframe that and let's leave that response in the balsamic phase. Okay. And let's imagine what it would be like to live in a time when we could be excited about something unexpected, where we could be excited about a gift coming to us. So Sagittarius is very generous. It's also the philosopher. So there's a lot about, the cosmos and opening our minds and feeling into our faith and trust and all of that. It's also a sign that is very much about gift giving and sharing and opening to blessings. And the aspects that I think, that come in to kind of maybe bring us into a more, I don't quite know the word yet, but just bring us into an open space, being open-minded, being open-hearted, I think would be an even better phrase for Sagittarius. Just to remember that in a world that is having so much suffering, then a world that is experiencing grief, and in our individual lives where there's grief, right? Where can I find a small space to remember something that brings me some joy, right? And how can I, during this Sagittarius new moon time, increase the feeling of gratitude or the feeling of joy in my body, right? How can I just tune into one thing, even if it's really small? How can I increase that feeling in my body? And then how can I bring that feeling closer and closer and closer and closer to the edge of my body from the inside? And then how can I let that energy move into my field around me? So during the new moon retreat, when I was meditating, it was revealed to me how important it is for us to be doing this. Each and every one of us, finding an opportunity, tomorrow particularly, but probably every day, where I can really honestly and authentically, because Sagittarius is very authentic. Where is there one place where I feel gratitude or one place where I feel joy? And then really breathe that in and do my best to fill up. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to bypass, and it doesn't mean you're going to ignore how you feel if you're feeling grief or anger or rage or fear or whatever you're feeling. You're not going to ignore it. You're just going to try this, see how this feels. And with the Sagittarius new moon, there's really an opportunity for some unexpected blessings. And so the rewiring of how can I receive something that's unexpectedly good. Okay, so just something to play with. Now, Mercury is going to retrograde. So what does that mean? That means you want to spend more time doing this. That means you want to enjoy more conversations with yourself. Okay. That means that when you're having conversations with other people during the holidays, you want to maybe listen more and talk less. Or perhaps you want to really consider how you want to spend your holidays. Like, what conversations do you want to have? And when you're having conversations, how can you, and this is a practice. And I think the Dalai Lama wrote a whole book about this actually. How can I find joy and gratitude in moments when I'm pretty sure I want to just get up from the table and walk away? I'm not good at that necessarily, just to kind of let you all know, just to be clear. But I do think it's a really good practice. I should say, and I do think it's a really good practice. So how do we, again, Mercury retrograde is a time of reflection. It's a time of review. It's a time of ultimately of refreshing. It's like hitting the refresh button on your computer. Speaking of which, I actually do think that during Mercury retrograde, backups are really helpful. Like if you haven't backed things up, do it today. Why not, right? Just do it. If the engine oil light comes on in your car, take care of it. Don't not address things that are mechanical or technological. Side note. And contracts, people always say, what about contracts? Well, sometimes we can't avoid signing a contract during Mercury retrograde. So just read it 5 times. You don't want to stop. You cannot stop your life. And you can just remember that it's a time to slow down. So I think the biggest thing that I want to say about this is there's this joy element. There's these opportunities to receive. There's opportunities to have different conversations with people. If things don't feel great, there's opportunity to reflect and ask the question, how can this be better? Judy's like, okay, great, but how long? It goes direct on January 1st. All right. So we have the rest of the month starting tomorrow. So if you're putting something in the mail, just get really practical. Use tracking. Use insurance. That kind of thing. Basic stuff. Anyway, coming back to this idea of reflection. So with Mercury retrograde, we have an opportunity to slow down, reflect, journal more. And I think for me, because I have a really strong Mars and there is a Mars element to the new moon tomorrow. If I'm upset by something, so my capacity maybe for stress maybe isn't as high because maybe I'm working a lot or something like that. If I'm upset by something, customer service, something like that, it's really important for me to pause. So I'll just speak as, myself and not pick up the phone right away. Maybe just jot a note down about what I want to take care of, right? I want to be mindful because everyone is undergoing the same transit. So there's probably stress in somebody else's life when they pick up the phone. And my Mars, I can get really direct. So I want to be mindful of that. I'm not saying you all do, but I'm just for myself. And kind of thinking about for those of us that have Mercury retrograde in our chart, which I do, this is a power time. This is a time where I should probably be sitting down and writing and getting things done because my brain works better. Yes. And that's excellent in the chat. I just want to point that out. There is, when it does choose to go direct, it will be very close to where the new moon is tomorrow. So for those of you that know astrology, the think and rethink, that's an excellent comment. Thank you so much for putting that in the chat. So think and rethink, renew, refresh, review, be mindful. I think, Mercury is very much about the mind. So being mindful. And with Sagittarius new moon, be heartful. Feel your innate generosity of spirit, right? Feel your love. And, Sagittarius can be very direct, blunt. I have a Sagittarius moon and, some of you who've known me a long time know I can get really direct. So it is a time for us to connect deeply with ourselves and with what we, the vision, that first card, right? Birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. That's a very Sagittarius moon card. Okay. So without further ado, because it's much more fun to talk to someone, right? I'm going to spotlight our guest. So Lorena, here we come. Ah, there she is. And I'm going to ask you to unmute. And I am going to spend a little time talking about you. So, but I know that can be a little uncomfortable,
Great.
but welcome to our Cosmic Compass conversations into the community. And I wanted to just share with everyone, I met Lorena, was it late last year or early this year? I'm trying to remember.
Late last year.
Yeah, late last year. And I have a deep, deep love and fondness for children's art and children's books. And Lorena revealed to me late last year, around probably not long from this time, like we're probably right around that time.
Well, actually, I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, was it early? Was it? I don't even.
I don't
It was
know.
early. No, it was early because I was
Okay.
almost done. Yeah.
Okay. Well, she revealed that she was writing a children's book. The reveal. I mean, what was I going to do with that information? I was going to encourage her. Well, little did I know that Lorena's children's book was going to get finished this year, published, ready to go. And it's been quite a process. And so I wanted to bring Lorena on, who has been working, you know, she works full time and writes the children's books and do you have one horse or two? One horse, dog, two dogs, two cats. Yeah. So full household and a partner. So, you know, there's and a family, by the way. So lots of family, lots happening this year and this children's book. And so I just wanted to just say from me to you in front of everyone in the world, well done. You did it. And I'm so happy that you're here. And I'm so happy that we get to share about the process of the dream. Are you okay if I reveal a little bit about your astrology?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Lorena has the unusual and distinct honor of being a triple Pisces. And for those of you who know astrology, this is not like this is an interesting thing to be a triple Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. So dreaming is easy on some level. It's the doing and getting it done that Lorena has had to really dive into in order to bring the dream, the vision into being, into reality. So that's what I really wanted to talk to you about. And then we'll get into the book. I want to share the book, obviously. But I mean, when was the first time you can remember being an artist? I don't, you know.
Oh, I was a kid. I was a baby. I mean, I was drawing from the time I could hold a pencil.
Wow. And I'm assuming your parents encouraged that. And
my mom liked it because it kept me busy. And my dad would yell at me. He didn't yell. He would say, can't you use more than, like, draw more than one thing on a piece of paper? Because I draw, like, you know, a face. I didn't like it. I'd throw it out. And then later I found that he kept them all. So in a binder.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet. So as you grew up in this world, I'm curious how you took, I mean, because clearly you loved art and you were loving the process of creating. Was there ever a time where you felt like, oh, I can't do this anymore?
Not that I couldn't do it. I didn't have time anymore. So I drew all the way through high school and college. You know, I majored in graphic design and painting. And then, you know, I started working. And when you work in the design field, they have you working till like 1, 2 in the morning. And that's not an exaggeration.
Wow.
Because back then you had to pay your dues. That was how they, you know, you got paid nothing and you worked really long hours. So I was still doing it a little, but then I just couldn't, I didn't have the energy. So it went a long time with me not drawing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like really literally not drawing at all.
I would pick up a pencil once in a while, and sometimes it was strange, it would come out great. And then I would say, oh, okay, I still got it. And then I went to draw and nothing comes out. So drawing is not like, well, I guess what I imagine singing is like, because I can't sing, but for anything. It's not like riding a bike. You don't pick up where you left off. So you pick it up and you have this intention of doing what you know you can do, but it just does not come out. So it gets really discouraging which is part of the journey of getting here, is sticking with it till I could draw again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a long time.
So it's a muscle. Basically what you're saying is it's a muscle you were born with, and then you continue to refine it and strengthen it, and then it atrophied.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you came back to it. And when did you have the idea for the children's book that we're going to share today?
Well, initially it started when it wasn't a book initially, it was just drawings, and it was because my dog Phoebe had died. And I got really emotional when you showed that last card.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yes. So if my voice cracks, I apologize, but
it's okay. You're a Pisces. You're good.
She was my heart and soul. And I started drawing little like cartoon doodles kind of things that were things that she used to do. And I enjoyed it because it brought me back to my memories, the happy memories. And so I continued to do that. And then I made some t-shirts for friends. And it was a dog. You see it sniffing a little thing on the ground, rolling and getting full of mud and really gross. And then underneath it says aromatherapy.
That's good.
So everybody really liked him, and I started doing more. But then I got to this point of like, I'm not getting it out there. I need to get it out there. I don't know how to get it out there. And then it was 5 years ago, maybe, yeah, probably 5 years ago. I had a dream.
A real dream.
Yeah, I have a lot of dreams. Yeah. A lot of weird dreams. This one was one of those fitful dreams, and I saw a book with the title, and I knew it was this little thing that my dog did. One of my favorite stories about my dog. I have a lot. And then I woke up and kind of said, oh my God, I have to remember that. And then I went back to sleep. So it started about 5 years ago.
That is so Piscean. So the Pisces element is about dreams, night dreams, daydreams. And like I was saying, it's like bringing them into reality. And I think it's important for people to know because many people have dreams. I have dreams. I have things that I have not accomplished, quote unquote. I've not brought them into being. So 5 years ago, you have literally a dream. And then what happened? How did the next 5 years unfold?
Very painful.
Are you willing to share that? Because I think that's important. Okay.
So it started off with a bang. So I said, well, I'm so busy. I have a full-time job and everything. And I was trying to do this t-shirt thing. And I was like, the last thing I need is another project. So I found this woman online who wrote a book, how to publish a children's book. And I emailed her. I said, can I pay you for a consultation? If I send you something, would you read it and tell me if it's worth doing? Because I just didn't want to, I knew going in it was going to be a lot of work, and I didn't want to waste my time. She said, sure. So I did it. And she was like, oh my God, this is actually like good. Like she was shocked, because I guess she gets a lot of people who, and she said, thank you for not trying to teach us a lesson.
Yeah.
It's like, you're welcome. And I was like, holy shit, I finally figured it out. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm sorry, I said the S.
It's okay. It's not a problem. It's just out there forever on YouTube now.
Great.
Parents can watch it later.
I went through this process. I wrote a rough, the first rough draft of the book. And I wrote, following her instructions, you write to agents in the publishing industry. And they say that agents are sort of the gatekeepers, and they will not they are the ones who give you the first rejections.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got like 4 people interested.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is easy. This is great. Like, this is going to happen. And I got an agent. And then everything changed. So, make a long story longer. It didn't work out with that agent. I found a new agent who was wonderful. And she pitched it to a publishing house, after publishing house. Fast forward 5 years, and I said, I give up.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting so many rejections. They didn't want me to draw it. They didn't, can we change I don't think, the title, I can't work with the title. Okay, I'll change the title, but they're like, no, it was just, they didn't like my drawings. They didn't like, can we make her black? I was like, sure. I don't care. It just kept getting rejected to the point of when I realized, I'm like, they're not going to let me draw this.
Right.
And the subject being my dog, it was really important to me.
Yes.
For me to draw it.
Yes.
So I found art, and he said, I need an art director, because I've been in design long enough to know that when you're designing, you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. So I found someone. He does art direction, basically. He teaches people how to draw again. Giuseppe Castellano, he was great. Couldn't have done it without him. And I started taking classes with him online, and I taught myself how to draw again, basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, big breath. Big breath. And then it happened.
I found an editor, also online, and I worked with her on the story to get it good. And then I said, when I left my agent, I said, this is it. And so what I did is I got the story in shape, one more round with the editor. And I said to Giuseppe, okay, I can't do this without you. So I did sort of mentoring sessions with him. And I met with him every 2 weeks, and I just gave myself, I pushed. He would give me these ridiculous, impossible deadlines, because mind you, I'm working full time, the whole time. And I pushed and I pushed to hit these deadlines. And it was a lot of work, but I did it. So
you did it. So everyone is collectively cheering for you, because you are a part of this collective energy of sticking with something that you believed in. And again, I think I really want to go back to the point where you said, you know what, I could go with these publishing houses, or I can do what's coming from my heart. Right? That's a big decision, because that takes you out of the public sphere of the publishing, right? I mean, it takes you out of that.
I felt like I had to go with a publisher to be legitimate.
Ah, yeah.
And that was my own stuff. I needed the approval or someone to say I was good enough.
Right. Right.
And I had so many people say, just self-publish it. And I was like, no, I can't. So when I realized, I'm like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I don't care if I get a stamp of approval from the industry.
Yeah.
This is in my heart. This is my dog. This is my story.
Yeah.
And I want to do it. Yes. And so I just did it.
That is amazing. And I'm really excited, because I know we've been talking about this, and there's more I want to talk about in terms of how this is a healing process, and how all of us can engage in a healing process with our dreams. And the idea that you kept coming from your heart and finding your strength. And, generally speaking, I don't always say push, push, push. And yet there are times when to birth, there is a pushing element. Otherwise things don't happen. So I really want to honor the creation and the birth. So do you happen to have your book next to you? There it is, everyone. I'm going to unspotlight myself for a minute so we can just see Lorena and the book. Look at that. So can you just, from the cover, introduce us to who's on the cover?
So this is Ray. When I was a little girl, my nickname was Ray, but changed the spelling a little. This was my cat Nero, my black cat. Yeah. And in there you'll eventually meet Phoebe and Nero and Ray.
Okay, so okay, wait, keep that up. I want to just honor that this is your artwork. These are your words. And I want to cry. Like, I'm sitting here and I mean, I've seen this and I want to cry every time I see this beautiful book. There's feeling. I mean, the kitty and the dog and you, and is that a hedgehog? What is that on the floor?
It's a hedge. Yeah, it's a hedgehog. It's a hedgie.
It's a hedgie. Okay.
That was her favorite toy.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. So later, after we're off camera, we're going to raffle off one of these books. I might raffle off two, just for fun.
Oh, okay. I wrote in yours. So.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
But there's more. So
there's more. That's right. There's more. So you want to share? Oh, look at that. Now everyone look. This, I mean, this beautiful. It makes me hungry. You're making me hungry. All right. This is amazing. So a couple things I want to really dive into. Number one, I love it. And thank you. And number two, what I really want to honor is your process, because it is the process that each of us would go through if we have something we really truly want to bring into creation. And for some, it's not necessarily going to be tangible. It might be something energetic. It might be like we want to birth a new world into creation. It is available at Lorena's website. So let me just, where else is it available?
That's it right now, because it's a long story, but I wanted a higher quality, so I did it myself.
Okay. So I just put that in the chat. So orders are taken at all times.
That's right.
All right. So, but again, back to this idea of, when we want to birth something into being, there's a process that you have gone through within yourself. And I really want to kind of dissect that. It's a healing process. The Pisces energy is all about healing. It's also about collective healing. So the idea behind a Pisces energy is that when we do something for ourselves that's healing, we're doing it for everyone. There's a transpersonal element here. So Lorena, as you were reteaching yourself and drawing, would you be willing to speak to the feelings of that experience? Yeah. Okay.
It was, so it had a lot of elements to it, in the sense that I would meet with Giuseppe and show him my work. So now showing your drawings to someone who's going to critique them, even though he did it in the nicest way possible, as an artist, is never, ever easy. So there was an element of fear in there.
Just a little bit.
As well as frustration, because I couldn't do what I used to be able to do. And determination. Yeah. So like I found my style. I had in my mind, I had to have a style like all the other illustrators out there, which is very artsy, funky, cool, whatever. And I realized with Giuseppe's help, he's like, you have a style. It's like your pencil drawings are your style. And I was like, oh, okay. So part of it was just doing what I was able to do, what came naturally. And I enjoyed it. So it was following what I really enjoyed doing, which you hear a lot, but actually doing that sometimes isn't that easy, because you hear these other voices in your head saying, no, it needs to be different. It needs to be like that successful person or that successful person. And then I realized I'm like, I can't do it that way. I can only do it the way I know how. And so I did pencil drawings. They were all done in pencil first. Wow. And then I was like, oh my God, how do I add color to pencil without screwing up the pencil drawing? And I'm like, I don't have the time to relearn how to do, I used to do watercolor and things like that. I'm like, I just don't have the time to relearn it. So I took my graphic design experience and I said, well, I'm doing it in Photoshop. So I scanned everything in and then I painted them in Photoshop.
Can you hold them up again so we can see just, the cover. So basically those started off as pencil drawings. Is all the shading pencil?
Yeah, actually, 1 second.
Okay.
Ooh.
We're getting into detail. And part of this, I think, is just, again, in a bigger picture, this process that we all go through. Wow.
So I'm working on a Christmas card right now, but that's how they start. It's like a pencil.
Wow. Okay. So they start like that. Then you put them into Photoshop and then you added color there.
I paint them in Photoshop. Yeah.
And in Photoshop. That's amazing. Which is, to me, now that's part of your graphic design background. So you knew how to do that.
Yeah.
On some level already.
I mean, I don't paint necessarily, but I was like, well, I know how to use Photoshop and I can do this. So I went.
Yeah. So you brought together your worlds.
Yeah.
And combined them into this. Okay. Amazing. Amazing from an artistic place. That feels really good to me.
It felt a little desperate.
Okay. Like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? Okay, fair enough. I bow to your artist self. I understand.
But also knowing that I'm a procrastinator and a daydreamer and all that stuff. I specifically signed up for these different classes with Giuseppe because I needed deadlines. I know I work really well with a deadline. So the other thing I learned through the years with graphic design is deadlines. So I used that to push myself because that's what I needed. And having an external person that I had to answer to, so to speak, even though, he would have been fine. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, my teacher, I have to do this. So yeah, that's what so I set that up. I set it up that way on purpose.
You set it up so that you could finish and find your way to the finish line, as it were, cross the finish line and live to tell about it as well.
That's kind of how it feels.
We do have a lot of artists in the circle today. So many people understand the inertia, the fear that comes. And I think the next piece of it, though, is something really personal from a healing point of view, as well as finishing something is one thing, sharing it is another. Coming into this circle and having this conversation is another step too. Is like, how do you feel now that it's out there and you've already started sharing it with people? I mean, it's been in process now for a month or so, actually like 2 months now, I guess, almost.
Yeah. I feel I'm proud of it.
Yeah. And how does that feel?
It's good. I mean, I don't know how to say other than part of me is like, yeah, okay. This is good. Like, I'm proud of it in the sense that I'm sure there's going to be people who don't like it, but I feel like it's a solid piece of work.
Mhm.
I think it holds up to like real, see, this is me being
Uh-huh. Other. Why don't you use other?
other children's books.
There you go. There you go. I like that.
It I've read a lot of self-published children's books, and they're usually, and I mean no offense to anyone who's self-published, but they tend to be less professional. And I am, because I'm a designer, because I've been an artist my whole life, I'm hard on myself. And so I needed to really, I was like, well, if I'm not going to be accepted by the publishing industry, this is going to be as good as it can possibly be. And
You
so
have
that
a little competitive streak in there, Lorena.
yeah, I do dog agility too. So I do.
Yeah. And I think, again, this is an internal process that becomes visible. It's an internal healing process. It's a way of reaching a goal and moving it out into the world. And that is, again, we don't have to always have something tangible. It could be an energetic, it could be a way of thinking, could be a practice. There's so many things that we might want to share with people. I'd like to come back to, before we do the raffle today, I'd like you to talk, if you don't mind, talk about the dog, your dog, that inspired this healing journey and this book. What would you like to share?
I'll start crying probably. She was my first dog. I wanted a dog my whole life. I loved animals, like a lot of women do, like since I was a baby. But my mother, she grew up on a farm, and she was like, no, animals are for outside. Like,
Oh.
they're never coming in this. She's from Italy. And she's like, yeah, no. She used to say when I was little, when you grow up, you can have as many animals as you want. So here I am with like 8 and well, 6, 2, 5, I don't know, a lot of animals. But so she was my first dog, and I chose an Australian Shepherd, which, if you know them, I did not choose an easy dog. And she was not easy for an Australian Shepherd.
Wow.
But once again, I tend to, when I set my heart on something, because setting my mind on it doesn't do me any good, but my heart, when I do that, I will stick with it. So she was hard, and I was in over my head, and she had me coming and going. I mean, this dog was smarter than me, I swear. And I didn't know anything about dogs. So I started taking a lot of classes with her to figure out how to get a handle on her. And she did things like in this book, Ray starts out, I made a sandwich. I had 2 pieces of bread on I had a paper towel, 2 pieces of bread. I turned to get some lettuce, and I went, oh, I thought I put the turkey on the bread. Nothing was disturbed. It was like in perfect, just nothing was disturbed at all. And I went, oh, okay. So I got the turkey, and I put it on the bread, and then I turned to get something else, and I went back, and I was like, wait a minute, I know I put the turkey. And I look, and she's sitting there like, hi. So, and she did that kind of thing all the time. She was funny. She has a sense of humor. She taught me that dogs, there is so much personality in any animal that when you don't have them in your life, you don't understand. She taught me that dogs can literally be smarter than us in so many ways. She taught me about unconditional love. She taught me about accepting myself and her with all of our, warts, so to speak. She was just an amazing teacher, and I just loved her to pieces. So.
Thank you. Because I think, creating a book to honor her, to honor what you learned from her, to honor the healing journey of grief, it takes a while. It's not something that we don't get over. I don't think it's something we learn to integrate.
Yeah.
The loss. the shift, I should say, because I mean, it is a loss in the physical, and then it is something else, of course, in the other realms. So this brings Phoebe to us, and it lets us feel her, see her, share in your experience of her humor and her
Yes.
playfulness. And that's
Yeah.
very powerful. So you don't have to share this, but if you do want to, you can. There is a bigger dream beyond this book, yes?
Yeah,
But
there
again,
is.
you don't have to share unless you don't want to. I mean,
I mean, I can share because it's just a dream. It's okay
for right now,
for right now.
yes.
I do have other stories that I've written, which was part of my process of when I was trying to get a publisher. And I want to refine those and publish those as well. But I also, when I was doing that process, I don't have one with me, but I had someone do a knit doll, like a Phoebe doll. I don't have it with me because it looked her style of her stuffed animal. She does them in knit. It looked like the style of my cartoons, and I was like, oh my god, I need that. So I had a dream of taking what I did before, which is the t-shirts and the doll and all of these things, and just creating a little world of, Phoebe and Ray and whoever else comes along to join us, and offering it to people, because I'm hoping that kids will see the love. Every story sort of ends with that feeling of love. Like in this one, they obviously make amends, and
Yeah.
because she loves her. So I guess, like that one woman said, I'm not out there. It has a moral in the sense, but it's not like really in your face.
Right.
It's more natural,
Yes.
but it's about loving, forgiveness, families. It's kind of got a lot of different elements in it, even though it's a children's book. And I want Phoebe to be out there making people laugh.
Yes. Yes. That
Without,
generosity, that of her spirit, we're
yeah.
talking about the Sagittarius energy, and she's so, her spirit is funny and playful and a little devious and mischievous and all those things. So bringing that into the world. And that's kind of what, when I was talking earlier about how we fill up with energy, for me, reading your book is a beautiful way to fill up with that energy. That's the thing about children's, and this is my little secret sauce, I guess. Children's books make me smile or cry, or both. They're short, they're beautiful, usually very beautifully illustrated, and there's some beauty in just being able to feed our inner child, bring that energy up, and then let it move into our field. So that's, to me, part of the healing process.
Yeah, and I think she's a wonderful little ambassador for that.
She is. So I have a dream I want to share that's related to your dream. We'll start small with one step, but I would like anyone who's listening, if it feels right to you, I would love for everyone to purchase one of Lorena's books and donate it to a library if you don't want to keep it yourself, or buy two and keep one yourself and then donate another one to a public library. I think for me, that is the first place where I could go, was in a library and sit in the children's book section. The children's librarians are always like the nicest people on the planet, and just be in that space, a healing space, during my childhood. So that's my vision. And I would like to, and I appreciate what I'm seeing in the chat. Dream big, dream bigger. And if anyone wants to join me, that's part of what I'm going to be doing, is I'll be gifting public libraries in the area with one of Lorena's books. in the new year. So that's me. And we're going to do a raffle here in a minute. But Lorena, before we go off the recording, how do people order the book if they want to order?
They can go to LorenaProiaBooks.com, but Lorena Proia isn't that easy to spell. It's
I put it in the chat.
yeah, LORENAPROIA, LorenaProiaBooks.com.
All right. And I'll put that in the YouTube as well in the description so people can find it there. That's how they order. And then you will
get it to the post office myself.
And you'll make sure you get a tracking number.
I will. And then I come back and I put the tracking number in. It's a very manual process, but hey, it works.
It works. It works. Lorena, is there anything else you want to say before we go off the recording and do the raffle?
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad I've met you, just not because of the book, but you're just a wonderful human being. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for being willing to do this. So exciting. I'm very happy. And congratulations from me and from, all those that are, putting things in the chat. It is really exciting to see a dream come to fruition, to see a project, a healing energy move into the world of all kinds. And this is beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you.